appreciate the testimonies, and just like I say, big amen to everything that's been said already, and hopefully just add to that. And I was thinking as we were singing and worshiping, Sister Bridget mentioned that we were talking last night, and I, as an individual, have come to the realization that music cannot take me to the throne of God. Music cannot get me to worship God. Music may reflect that worship of God that's in my heart, but if you're coming to church expecting to worship the songs, the worship leaders, the singers, the players, the dancers, will bring you before the throne of grace, it's not going to happen. Paul said that we now may boldly come before the throne of grace. And that music can't take you there. The band can't take you there. Sister Bridget can't take me there. But you know, she can reflect where I am or where I'm going or where I want to go. And worship is the attitude of the heart. We're involved in worship all the time. Our lives are to be a worship before God. Our hearts are to be a worship before God. It's not something we do for a few minutes at the beginning of each service. Worship is something that we're doing right now. So worship is something that we're doing at home. You can worship the God of this world by sitting there and watching TV all day. You're worshiping. Jesus said, speaking of Israel, they worship, they know not what. How many of God's people still today are worshiping? They don't even know what they're worshiping. They don't understand. You can worship your job. When you let your job control your life, instead of you controlling your job, you're worshiping your job. You can worship your boss. You can worship your bank account. You can worship your time. Everybody says, well, I'm worshiping God, and yet they're going to do whatever it takes to get £1 million. You can say you're worshiping God, but you're worshiping money. You're worshiping the God of this world. You're worshiping man. Jesus said you can't serve two masters. You're going to serve one, and you're going to hate the other. Because you're going to hate. See, you can be sitting in church. You can be meeting with someone, and you can hate being there because, you know what? Today's double time. Today's triple time. You're looking at your watch. Why? Because you really don't want to be here. You want to be making the 30, 40 pounds an hour you could be making right now. Because it's double, triple, quadruple time, whatever. So you're going to love one and hate the other. It's like, man, as soon as this service is over, I gotta get because at least I can still be 8 hours. Now, I'm not against you making money. Please, don't get me wrong. But what are we serving? What are we worshiping? Are we truly worshiping God? Well, God wants me to rest today. Well, 40 pounds an hour, that's pretty good money to be resting. But God instituted a day, a Sabbath, a day of rest. He says, in 6 days shalt thou work, but on the seventh, you're going to rest. Why? That was for your health. What are we worshiping? And so we have to understand when we come before the throne of God, or when we want to come before the throne of God, the music can't take us there. The worship leaders can't take us there. It's got to be an attitude that we willingly come before the throne of grace. We want to be there. I want to be before the throne of God. And not rely on anyone else or anything else. And so when I come here today, my hands easily go up. I don't need the band to take me there. I'm glad they're here. That's right. Keep singing the songs of Zion, but I don't need you there to take me there. I can get there all by myself, and if I don't, you're not going to take me there. How many of us have come to services and we left and I didn't feel anything? If the band could have taken me there that day, they would have. But they failed to that day because why? Because they can't. It's not that they failed, that they can't. And so we must work out our own salvation with fear and trembling. And another thing that I want to speak to you today, and the time is spent really, but it's been spent in a wonderful way. I wouldn't take a thing away from today. I appreciate everyone that spoke. I appreciate everyone that worshiped. But I do feel that we, as children of God, must still develop our relationship with God. We must develop a relationship, and we must lose something that is culturally, environmentally, wrongly established in our minds. We have always had to be good enough. We needed to be good in school. We needed to have good grades. We needed to be good at home. We needed to be good. If you were good, you got sweets. If you were bad, you may even have missed dinner. If you were bad enough, you might have been sent to your room hungry. In some cases, we've developed this mentality that we have to be good enough. And this is a mentality that when we come before God, we have to lose. We're not going to be good enough. We never have been. We never will be. And